Welcome to Bay Focus. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. I am always glad that you do. Well, we have a great program for you this week. To start with, what a week it is. It is Holy Week for Christians around the world. We will be celebrating and commemorating and the impact of the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ this week. This is such an important time in our lives, and we're going to close out the show today, so I want you to stay tuned. We're going to close out the show talking about Easter. We have a special guest, our general manager here at CTN WCLF here in Tampa Bay. Bodie is going to be with us to share a timely Easter message. If there ever was a year that we need the hope of Christ, this is it. But before we get to that, we have some incredible guests with us today that are really, literally, and I'm using this term, meeting the need of foster kids that age out of the system. This is a unique thing they're doing, and the organization is called Meet the Need, and with their Open Table initiative for foster kids. And, you know, if you've watched the show for any length of time, you know that this is a soft spot for me. I just really try to get our Christian community connected with foster care and foster kids. And this is a different side of it as they become adults. And to talk about this today, we have Kevin and Renee Miller. And Kevin is the Community Engagement Coordinator for Meet the Need Open Table. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Great
so
to
much.
have you. I love the husband-wife team
Yes.
here. I love this because that's truly what you are. You're doing this together.
Yes.
But I just did a really brief, Kevin, I'm going to start with you. Well, we'll get to you in a little bit, Renee. But I'm going to start with you as the engagement coordinator here. I mentioned just really briefly, but do a quick version. We're going to get into it more in depth
Sure.
in a minute, but quick definition of what Open Table is.
All right, so thank you for letting us be on and share this great opportunity to minister to people in our community, this population that's so needed, this aged out foster group. So kids, about 100 in Pasco County, 100 in Pinellas, and 100 in Hillsborough every year come in, age out of foster care. And the system didn't really serve them well. They didn't get reunited to their family, and they didn't get adopted. And so now they have to figure out life on their own. And what they really need is a relationship. They need multiple relationships. They need people around them. And so what Open Table does is it surrounds we call the aged out a friend, and we surround that friend with volunteers at a table that do team mentoring for 1 year. But what these young adults need is relationships, and relationships take time to build trust. And so it's not a transactional thing where the volunteers are paying for anything. They're actually helping these young adults learn how to make choices and decisions and leverage social and relational capital in the community so that they can be successful as adults.
Okay, and we're going to define some of these terms. That is the short version. You said it so perfectly as an overview. We're going to get into this a little bit, then find out, too, how Kevin and Renee make this work for them as mentors. But give us you did a quick, summary of it. But what are these young people facing? You know, there's employment issues. There's a variety of things. One of the things, the instability is a term you use, and then incarceration sometimes in pregnancy. Give us what some of the problem is.
Yeah, sadly the stats are not good for a child that ages out of foster care at 21 or 23, 24. A high percentage of the young men will become incarcerated at some point. A high percentage of the women might get trafficked. A majority of the young ladies are pregnant by the time they're 21. It's just kind of how it goes. Homelessness becomes an issue for a percentage of them. Definitely not getting jobs because they're not quite ready for the skill set to do a job that's a career. And quite honestly, they actually get paid about $7,500 less a year than their peers for some reason. So really, there's a lot of things that set them back, and that we try to help them catch up on so that they can be successful in life. But those are all concerns that affect all of culture, all of our society. So when we step in to help that, we're helping problems that affects all of us.
Okay, you mentioned a couple of terms that I want you to define for our viewers: relational capital, social capital.
Yes, yeah. These are really important, right? We think about capital a lot of times as financial, and a lot of the work and even ministry that's happening in our community is very transactional, right? We'll feed somebody, we'll give them some food, we'll give them a backpack, but it's not sustainable. You have to keep doing that day after day, after year, and it's not a sustainable model for that person. It's the old adage, right? Give them a fish they eat for the day, teach them a fish they learn to eat forever. And so the capital that's missing in what these young adults need is relational and social capital. So I'll define them. Relational capital are the people that you and I know that are in our world that we can rely on, right? These are people that are go-to people. They don't have go-to people. Right? When something bad happens, we have some go-to people, typically, but they don't have that. So they need that. And then the social capital, this is the network of people in the community that can help them. They may not know them personally, but they know people who know people. And one of the benefits that we do by putting more than one person around these friends, and we call the friend intentionally because we don't want to treat them as a project or something that we're trying to fix. They're another creation
That's
of
a really
God.
good point. Yeah.
They're another creation of God that needs to be kind of come alongside, right?
They're a friend.
So these aren't projects. These are be a friend. And so we intentionally use that term. And we say the friend's the CEO of their life. And so we're trying to help them make good choices. And we're trying to surround them by leveraging our own relational and social capital to help them. So, right? So you know people I don't know, and I know people you don't know. And so if we work together to help this person, now we've got this exponentially larger capital of resources.
That is a great definition of that, because it's basically people coming alongside.
Right.
Just you're coming alongside, which brings me to the open table model. I want you to define this for us, what this model is, and I want to talk to you both about this and how this has impacted your life. But what is the model?
Right. So we know that, if we know that some of the problems that they're facing can be solved best by relationship, then how do we best match relationships with these friends? And that's where we take this transformational model versus a transactional model of not just, let me solve your problems for you, but let me come alongside you and do this. And we realize that for the most part, mentoring is a good idea, but mentoring is typically one-on-one. It's a very hard concept because the mentor and the mentee have to both like each other and they have to both show up. And if any of those things don't happen, it doesn't work. So there's a lot of failure in this one-on-one mentoring. Likewise, when you ask somebody to be a one-on-one mentor, a lot of people are too humble and they say, I need to mentor. Who am I to mentor somebody else? And they feel like it's too much of a weight for them to carry themselves. So this model says, hey, let's do this together. Let's build a table of volunteers that mentor together. So 3, 4, 5 people. It could be couples. It could be small groups. It could be different groups of people that come together. And they work together with that one friend for 1 year. And it's great for busy people because they could be on a business trip or go to a vacation and the meeting could still happen. So the table meets once or twice a month with their friend, and they work on one problem at a time for the friend. And I tell the volunteers, this is not about money. This isn't about you solving problems financially for them. It's helping them figure out how to solve the problems.
Okay, I love that. And in the course of that table, too, and we can talk about that, is a lot of networking that goes on to help this friend, this young adult, get the steps ahead that they need. Renee, let me go to you here because our viewers just want to hear from you. I know they do. I know they do. You do this as a couple. You do a table with another couple.
Yes.
Tell us about what you do and what this means to you.
Well, it's the first time in our marriage that we've been able to really work side by side together as a project. And not a project, but just it's a relationship that we can join together and to help someone that truly has been a blessing to us. I mean, we pray together about our friend. We strategize together with our friend. We've really taken a part in her life, together. And the other couple, because of this table, we've become close with them as well.
Yeah.
Our small group has become a part of our friend's life. We brought just a prayer request and a need, and our small group stepped up and actually threw a baby shower for our friend. It was beautiful. Our friend was blown away, just felt the love of Jesus. And it really is transformational. It has transformed my life, and I've seen it, transform our marriage as well. Just to have that common place that we come to, daily, just to talk about our friend, visit our friend, and, just be with her.
This has just brought up, we've got people watching that think, this might be something I can do. I have another couple friend or another group that you can do. But she mentioned that you can also bring a spiritual element into this. How do you do this? Obviously, this is going to be open to a wide variety of people.
Right.
But how do you integrate that?
Yeah, I look at it as really, it's a ministry opportunity for a local missions opportunity for believers. So I recruit a lot of, through churches and groups, ministries, organizations, nonprofits, that have believers that are interested in this. And so when I train them and tell them and prepare them to do this, so they may say, I don't even know what to do. And this isn't something they've got to have a lot of training or expertise in. So I can train you to get ready for what to do this. And the big thing I train them on is, hey, just show up. Just be Christ to them. Just love people. Just don't give up on people. Don't return back. And so being able to do that is important. And it just as friends, it's an opportunity for us to then minister to the friend as they go through life, right? That's the best opportunity.
Yeah,
just as Jesus went along the path and talked about life, I said, don't buy the line that you can't talk about politics or religion. I said, if that's part of your life, talk about that.
Yeah.
That's part of who you are.
Okay, let me ask a question, our final question, because as I, thought could happen, we're running out of time. But there's a technology side to this. You have an app.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm a big Meet the Need. We've created a lot of technology for churches and ministries through the years, and we do technology that helps the local church do the work. So we've got feeding and other programs that we help in all around the country serving. And this was an opportunity. There's lots of resources that are out there in the communities that people don't know about. Right? There's endless nonprofits and organizations doing great work, but they tend to be so siloed and disconnected and disjointed. And so this idea, this app called Link to Hope, is an app that we've built that it is all over the country, but regionally you use it. So we use it here in the Tampa Bay area, and we have resources in there, and we have our friends have access to it, and the table members have access to it. It's a way to communicate to each other. It's a way they could set goals and share those goals in there. It's a way for them to say, hey, let's say they needed a mechanic. They could go in there and find a mechanic that we recommend for them. So it's an ongoing, evolving app of resources that is available so that people can have access to those resources whenever they want.
Yeah, and particularly our young people are so adept at using technology.
Right.
I say that, but I shouldn't say that. There's probably older people that are better at it than me. I have limited tech skills, but it's just so great to have that resource to them. Okay, yes. I want to bring this now into how can our viewers connect? I mean, there's a couple different sides to this. It's not only the couples and groups coming in, but you really want to connect with businesses and things
absolutely.
too, right? Tell us what you need.
Absolutely. I mean, the ultimate win would be I can connect these friends who have a need for these relationships and volunteers who create the tables. So there's that. But the big win would be after they go through that process together for a year or so. And by the way, 85% of the friends who stay with the table for a year, they're still in touch with them years down the road.
Wow,
they become
I love
an extended
that.
family. They like extended family for them. So that's kind of neat. But yeah, getting them into a job or a career that's sustainable for them, that's what's going to help them be successful, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just helping them on certain things. Ultimately, we want to get them to become independent so that they can support themselves. And so, local businesses that would understand what we're trying to do and partner with us on that and say, hey, I've got an opportunity. I could take somebody like that. And the good thing about that is that we're not just handing somebody off. The table's still surrounding that friend, and it's another person, other people that are involved in their life that can kind of help shape and coach them a little bit if they have to learn how to do some skills.
So, in terms of the best way for them, if somebody's watching and wants to connect with either business or couples or want to create a table,
right?
Best way, to reach you through the website?
Yeah, through the website. I think you've got a QR code we can share with them. Yes, my email as well, kbeller@meettheneed.org, or give me a phone call if that's shared as well. Feel free to reach out to me. But it's a great thing for couples to do together because not all ministry can you do together.
Right.
But it's good to do ministry together when you can.
It is.
We're going to let that one lie. Well, you're probably got, there's probably girls, young women, young men.
Right.
So to have a couple that can reach both, that can kind of do that, that's really a cool thing to do. And then again, we do have a lot of our viewers are connected in churches and ministries. Right. So you already addressed them.
We partner with churches.
We'd love to hear from them, right?
Yeah, churches that want to use this as one of their ministries, and it's an opportunity for them.
Yeah.
We'll do the training and the coaching and all of that to help prepare them, and it can be an extension of the ministry of their church. So it's a great opportunity.
Well, that's awesome. Okay, thank you both so much for being on the show. And we covered a lot of ground in a short amount of time. But again, as you're watching, this is such a great organization that is just stepping up to fill a need that exists. This is huge, kids aging out of foster care. This is such a tough world for them, and to have this table of people supporting them, literally surrounding them, is just so awesome. So you're going to see on the screen how you can contact them. We'll be right back with a special Easter message. Stay tuned. Well, this is, as I said earlier in the show, such an important week for Christians around the world. It is Easter week, and it is such a time to reflect and to celebrate and commemorate all that Christ did to give us a plan of salvation, to spend eternity with Him, and to really bring this home today. I've invited our general manager for WCLF-TV, CTN here, Bodie DeAndre, to share with us a word today about Easter. Here's Bodie.
Thank you, Darlene, and it's really a joy to be with you today. You know, I really want to just opine and give some lessons about Easter. You know, if there's one time where almost the entire world comes together is during the Easter season. Some of you may even be Christians, where you only go to church on Christmas and Easter, but this is one of your times. So I would like to tell you some things about Easter you may not have known. You know, a lot of people focus on how it's evolved through the years with paganism and eggs and rabbits and all that. I believe if you focus on the truth will set you free. That we focus on the real meaning of Easter, and then we let God do His work in your life. You know, if you go back in the scriptures, I kind of want to lay out how the whole thing unfolded. So on Thursday evening, Jesus is doing what we called the Last Supper, the Passover. And when that was done, somewhere about 10 p.m. on Thursday night to 4 a.m. on Friday morning is when He was taken captive. A quick trial, and then sometime on that Friday, between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m., He was crucified. It's a very long day. You know, you may say, well, I don't even know if I believe in the afterlife or believe in resurrection or believe in Jesus. I'll let you know that besides the scriptures, there's over 6,000 different writings, artifacts, things outside the Bible that have been found that support that this has happened. You know, people say history repeats itself, but this is one event that has never been repeated in all of history. Some people say, well, maybe this is a cultural thing or it's a racial thing. No, it's a humanity thing. Think back to when God created Adam and Eve. There was no cultural, racial, it was humanity. And when we talk about resurrection, we talk about humanity. Jesus Christ died and rose again for you. You know, I try to think back those 24 hours and what it was like. Let me give you a couple of things that from the Old Testament, from writings a couple thousand years before, that Jesus fulfilled. One of the things is when He was crucified, we went from Old Testament to New Testament. We went from sacrifice to offering. We went from sacrifice to salvation. You know that the thief that died on the cross with Jesus, he was never baptized, never went to a catechism, a school, never went to Sunday school, never was given a certificate as a member of the church. But Jesus said, today, you'll be with me in paradise, because he gave his faith and put his trust in Jesus Christ. Have you done that today? You know, that's the thing. So you look at Sunday morning when we get to the resurrection. Now, it's kind of odd, and you wonder why, what happened between Friday and Sunday morning. Well, Matthew, Mark, and Luke in the Gospels, they did their timing on the Jewish time frame, where John uses the Roman times when he describes how things happen. So they are synoptic, they do match. And so Mary Magdalene, who had had a demon cast out by Jesus, before sunrise on Sunday morning, comes to the tomb. It's interesting that it would be a female that would come. It's interesting when she came, and the reason being is because the Sabbath, they could not mourn the dead. So I'm imagining she probably brought some herbs, spices to embalm Jesus, because he hadn't been embalmed. He was just wrapped in the linens and put into the tomb. So I imagine that's why she was there, the first chance to come and mourn. And when she got there, the tomb was empty and the stone was rolled away. Well, just so you know, the stone was about up to 4 tons in weight, 8 feet high, and about 1 inch thick. That was in a groove that rolled back and forth. Maybe you're a skeptic and you say, well, maybe he was just stolen, or maybe that he wasn't really there. Then you have to ask yourself, well, who would steal him? The Romans had no reason to do it because it didn't fit the narrative. They had just convicted him and posted their guards to make sure he stayed there. Didn't fit the Jewish narrative because they were the ones that want him killed. They wanted Barabbas released so that Jesus would die. His friends wouldn't have done it because they didn't have the means or the money. And the average person wouldn't have done it because when they finally did go in and look with a couple of the disciples, his clothes had been unbandaged and neatly folded. Who does that? Who would go in and take the time to peel off the linens with the dried blood, and to take the time to do that, fold it, roll up the face shield, and set it as if somebody had made the bed? Just doesn't make sense. And then you look and you say, well, she ran back and got others, but over the next course of 40 days, almost 600 people physically saw Jesus, where he appeared to them. Friends, the apostles, a few of the women. And then Paul records in 1 Corinthians up to 500 people saw Jesus. Now remember, when Paul wrote Corinthians, it was 25 years afterwards, and he even says, check it out, 1 Corinthians 15:6. He says that most of the people were still alive. He got first-hand account eyewitnesses of those that physically saw Jesus. It's a miracle and it's amazing. No other faith even claims to have a Savior, a leader, or somebody that died and was risen again. Today, what I want to do is ask you the question, what do you do with this information? What difference does it make in your life? How do you process it? See, because we know empirical data that Jesus really did exist. Outside the scriptures, he really did exist. We have data, it's written in books, contemporaries, and those that were firsthand accounts wrote about a person named Jesus. So Jesus either was who he says he was, or he wasn't. If he wasn't, then he was either a lunatic, and there's no mention of anybody, even those that hated him, of him ever being crazy. And if he was crazy, how could a crazy person cast out demons from somebody else? They wouldn't have obeyed. Well, did he do it because he was a narcissist? That he wanted to be a king or wanted to be rich or famous? No, because he even said, I don't want to do that. And none of those things panned out. So if he wasn't crazy, and he wasn't a magician, and he wasn't a lunatic or a manipulator, how is it that after all these years, people still put their faith in Jesus Christ and their lives have been changed? Because he is who he says he is. And if that is true, then you have to do something with that information. And what will you do? Here, I want to leave you with this thought today. The same Spirit that was in Jesus Christ, and you can read this in Romans chapter 8, verse 11. The same Spirit that was in Jesus Christ is in you. The same Spirit that rose Jesus from the dead, not just raised the dead, brought Jesus out of hell and rose him from the dead, is the same Spirit that dwells in you. What do you do with that information? Are you willing to stand up and take your place as a member of the Christian group, a Christian that will say, yes, I believe that Spirit's in me and I want to live that? Are you making your mark? Are you doing what God's called you to do? Today, we would like to pray with you. We have numbers that have come up on your screen 24/7 at CTN. We want to pray with you, pray for you. We want to help you. We want to encourage you into this walk, this life with Jesus Christ. Celebrate Easter.
Thank you so much, Bodie, for that message and really painted the picture and shared the impact and importance of the Easter season. I hope you will have a blessed Holy Week. I want to thank my guests also, Meet the Need Open Table, and what they're doing to help foster kids that age out of the system. Have a blessed Easter, and we will see you next week on Bay Focus. May God richly bless you.